Hi, welcome to the Beacon Hill Friends House. My name's Nils. I'm the Executive Director here at the house, and I'm really excited to give you a tour today. We're really sorry you can't be here in person to join us for our summer barbecue, but hopefully this will be the next best thing, and you'll have an idea of what the house is like right now for the next time you come visit, whenever we can. So we're here at 6 and 8 Chestnut Street in downtown Boston. These two row houses were combined into one in 1920 and donated to become the Friends House in 1957. And we've been, since that time, a Quaker nonprofit organization, a residential intentional community, the home of Beacon Hill Friends Meeting, a Quaker congregation on Sunday mornings, and increasingly over the past few years, also a space for meetings and events and gatherings of both ones that we host, public programs, speakers, lectures, that sort of thing, and gatherings of outside groups and organizations that come and use our space, and we love having here. A note about the land that we're on here, on this hill. We're in the neighborhood of Beacon Hill in downtown Boston, Massachusetts. This land was not always called Beacon Hill. About 20,000 years ago, it was covered by a mile of ice, and over the next few thousand years, as the ice receded, people came and lived here. Some of those people were the Massachusetts tribe and the Wampanoag tribe. We want to honor their history on the land that we now occupy. European settlers came in the 1600s. This land was a farm, and different people worked that farm over time. And then in the late 1700s, this land started to be developed in the sense of houses being put here, and these two houses were built in 1805. Enough about that. Let's go inside and actually see the house. You saw me wearing a mask outside, and I'm not going to inside. I'm going to sanitize my hands. The pandemic has been challenging for the house, like for all of us, I think, here and elsewhere. We are doing our best. We're a household of 21 people all live in this giant house, and that has posed some challenges. How do we stay safe, but also live into not just being a house that people happen to live in together, but really an intentional community and for the most part, a shared single household. So as I go around, you'll see some of the residents of the house. Some of them will be wearing masks, some won't. Some will be social distancing from each other, but know that others are either couples or have agreed to have relationships where they're in the same germ pod. So that's what you see, and that reflects our efforts to balance being in a community and keeping ourselves as safe as we can. So I'm going to walk you through various parts of the house. We've been taking advantage of the pandemic time to have a little more time here to make some changes and improvements as we can. This is our new welcome wall. So hopefully when you come and visit us in person, or also for other groups that come over time, this will be a nice way to welcome them, give information about the house. This is the parlor and music room. We use this space for playing music on the grand piano and other instruments, for hanging out, for committee meetings, for relaxing in the shade. Casey, hey Rose. Just a lovely, quiet place. And this is one of the spaces that we use for our own public programs and also rent out to other groups. Now I'll show you the other main space we use for that, which is the meeting room. You can see we're going from this half of the house back to the other half. We talk about it as one house, but this was the dividing line between the houses originally. And I find it useful for navigational purposes, since this house can feel like a little bit of a maze, to know that it was two houses, and that helps balance it out. In 1920, I mentioned the house was renovated and combined together then. The family that owned one house bought the other, combined them on all 5 floors, they put connections through, and opened up one half of the newly combined house on the 2 bottom levels into the big room we're about to go into. On a normal Sunday morning, it would look something like this, set up for the Quaker meeting for worship, and we usually keep it that way during the week as well in normal operation. However, during the pandemic, we've been using this room as a dining room, as a hangout space, and just as another gathering place that allows for a bit more social distancing. So this is what the meeting looks like right now. And Hey guys. In addition to Sunday morning meeting for worship here, like I said, we have speakers, documentary screenings, workshops. The fireplace works. So in winter evenings, it's nice to have a fire going. You'll often see residents hanging around here. We're also really lucky that we have ground floor access from this room. So through this door right here, through the side courtyard, we have access to street level. So the whole house isn't wheelchair accessible, unfortunately. As we start to think about long-term building planning, that's the thing that we're keeping in mind a lot, is how can we be more accessible over time. But this ground level is wheelchair accessible. And we do have an elevator that's 100 years old that still works, and I'll show you a little later. It doesn't quite fit a wheelchair, but it is also useful. Right now, we're going to go through this kind of secret under back hallway here. So you're under the front door of the house right now. Here we go into, there's some bulletin boards. There's a restroom. And this is how, if you ever came to house dinner, you would come down those stairs and come through here into the dining room. We have house dinner together 5 nights a week. That's one of the ways that we're an intentional community. One of the things that means for us. So everyone signs up for dish crew once a week, all of the residents, and that's one of the ways that we live in an intentional community and are all chiming in and contributing to the work of the house. Meals are cooked rather than by residents. We're lucky that we have our in-house kitchen manager and resident chef. You want to say hi, Vicky?
Hi, how's it going?
Who's sitting as camera person today as well. We have 3 other staff people as well. I work here as the executive director. My colleague Jeff is our residency and operations manager. If you ever email about an application for residency or staying in one of our 2 guest rooms, you'll probably correspond with Jeff. And we also have Jen, our program manager. That's our newest staff position. And Jen is in charge of both curating and putting on our own programs. We have a lot of online programs these days, including this very video, I guess. And during normal operation, non-pandemic times, coordinating outside groups to come and use our space as well. This dining table fits 18. It's a very lively time at house dinner. We don't expect that everyone is at every house dinner. People are living their life, they're out and about in the world, but the expectation is 3 out of 5 dinners a week on average, residents are at house dinner. Let's go show you the kitchen. We pass through the dish pantry here, and then into the kitchen space. Oh, sorry, red cat. So the kitchen's a hubbub of activity right now. Everyone's preparing for the cookout that we're about to have. Hey, folks. Oh, hey, Rose. What do you think? And this is where the magic happens. So that's the kitchen. It's a small cramped space, so I'll let everyone eat and keep working, and we're going to head outside to one of our courtyards. So we're really lucky here at the Friend's house to have some outdoor space. None of it is a lawn, but we have 2 courtyards and a rear roof deck. This is what I think of as kind of the business courtyard. There's our recycling bins and trash, there's a compost pile, our bike shed, and there's a handy little side passageway tunnel to the front of the house, so residents can wheel their bike back here, and it's just a handy way to get back and forth. There's also this deck. It's definitely one of the, I would say one of the favorite amenities of the house. Especially nice in the summer, of course. See, it's quite sunny. We look around, we see a lot of residents have been doing container gardening. We built a raised bed in the corner. We have a hammock. And the gardening has been happening by our ad hoc plants committee, which is also illustrative of one of the ways that we live in community. We have various committees and working groups that take on some of the work of the house. Like I said, we have some staff, but we're also very much cooperative in many ways. And we're a bunch of residents who are excited about growing stuff this summer, so we got together and we made it happen. You can also get a sense or get a real view from the back here of just how big the house is. go back inside. Probably one of the easiest ways in and out of that window here. We have two spaces used as offices for the staff to work here. This is the back office. We come through this hallway, past, I mentioned an elevator. This is our 100-year-old elevator. We're waiting on a repair to the power supply right now, so I can't give you a ride in it, unfortunately, but if you ever come back or if you really want to see it in operation, send us an email, send us a message on Facebook, and we can arrange a video of the elevator. It's pretty cool. And here we have the front office. Oh, hey Rose.
Hey, how's it going?
This is where Vicky and Jen work, and also where resident mailboxes are. And you can see actually that this office space, just to orient you, is back here on the balcony of the meeting room that we passed through earlier. Now we're going to go upstairs. So far, we've been in parts of the house that we think of as the semi-public areas, where we have public events and it's normal for visitors to go. But we're getting into the parts now as we go up to the second floor and certainly above that are really just resident-only spaces. So you're on the second floor. We have one of our two guest rooms. I mentioned we have overnight guest rooms. Here we are passing through the other side of the house. Remember the welcome wall I pointed out earlier? That's right next to that carpeted area down there. So we could have come up this staircase. There are always multiple ways to get where you want to go in the friend's house. And here we are in the back hallway. And go up to the resident areas. If you want to see some resident rooms in more depth, then stay tuned after this tour. We're going to have a few other events. We're going to have a brief jam session, just for 5 minutes or so, a musical interlude. And then we're going to show a couple pre-recorded tours we made, of also residents giving tours of our garden in more depth, and of a few resident rooms as well. So here we are on the third floor. Some of the rooms are double rooms, meaning there are 2 people living in them. Some of the rooms are singles. We, like I said, have 21 residents total, and so a mix of doubles and singles. Some of the doubles are occupied by couples, and we love having couples live in the house, but it's certainly not required. So some people live with roommates, and some people live on their own. Here we are on the 4th floor. Oh, it's hot up here. The lower ceiling. Now there are resident rooms up here as well. This is the garret, the unofficial crash pad for friends and residents. See, there's a queen bed in there, and oh, hey Rose.
How's the tour going?
Great.
Good.
Enjoy your painting. I'll just show you a little bit more of the 4th floor here. This is an example of one of our bathrooms, very much in use these days. By which I mean it's not tidy. I'm sorry, it's not a hotel bathroom here. It's a real house where real people live. Some of these doors are closet doors because the rooms are built at a time where they didn't have closets in the rooms, so the closets are external to the rooms. One question I often get asked when I give tours of the house is, well, who lives there? And I realized now that I didn't say that yet. What types of people live at a Beacon Hill Friends house? And the answer is it's a pretty broad range, actually. I said that we have 21 residents on the whole. Those are all adults, but a really broad range within that category. Our youngest resident right now is in their early 20s, and our oldest is in their mid to late 80s. We have people of a broad range of ethnic and racial backgrounds. We have a very broad range of religious and spiritual backgrounds as well as people who don't identify with any particular religious or spiritual background. We are a Quaker institution, which means that we were founded as that. It's in our values and our mission statement. And that we live as an intentional community, as an organization, in alignment with Quaker values. Things like living with integrity, an intentional community, working for peace and justice in the world, trying to live with faithfulness, and that across residents can mean a variety of things. So we're pluralistic in a lot of ways, but we do hold this values alignment at the center of what we do, and that's part of what makes us different from some places. So we're back to the landing on the second floor here. I'll save one of the best for last. think it's my favorite room in the house, the library. So you can see here, if we pan across the room, why it's called the library. Hey, Jen. Hey, Ryan.
Hi.
These wall-to-wall books were given to the house along with, the house was donated with its contents in 1957.
Hey, Rose.
Oh, hey, Rose.
Hi.
Hi.
Showing some books here.
Great. Anyway, like I said, the house was donated to become a nonprofit. John Green is the name of the man who inherited the house. He had grown up here. He inherited it from his mother, Charlotte Nichols Green, whose portrait we still have there on the wall. And John had spent time with Quakers. He was interested in religion and had been inspired by Kendall Hill, which is a Quaker retreat center outside of Philadelphia, and thought, hey, what if there could be a place kind of like that in Boston? People live together to learn about Quakerism, but it's not just Quakers living together, and we live in intentional community. And here we are 63 years later. A few things have changed, but a lot of it's still the same. Residents, Brian, we'll head back to the meeting room. Residents can stay here for up to 4 years.
Hey, Brooke.
Residents can stay for up to 4 years and then have to move on and make space for other people to live in the house. So unlike some co-housing communities or other cooperatives where people might move in for the long haul, the Friends House has some transients to it, but there's also enough time to really settle into community, to hopefully grow and deepen yourself personally, spiritually, on other axes as makes sense for you. And that's part of what Life at Friends House is about. I'm sure there are things that I've forgotten to mention about the house on this tour. We're close to the end here. Normally, this would be a time for questions and answers, or you could ask questions along the way. If you have questions about the house, or if you're interested in residency, maybe you know someone who you think it might be a good fit for, or you used to live in the house, you're an alum of the house, and you have a question or just want to reminisce, we would love to hear from you for any of those categories or otherwise. So please do send us a Facebook message, check out our website, write to us. And I really sincerely mean it that we love connecting with people who have an interest in the house, part of why we're here, to get to share this beautiful big house with more people and hopefully have it be well used. So that's the end of the tour. We're back in the meeting room here. I'm going to head out to the courtyard there, and hope you'll stay tuned and join us for the rest of these videos. Hey, Rose. And hope to see you soon. Thanks a lot, everyone.